BTS Jin reaches 800 million Spotify streams and 10 million followers. World record. In the ever-evolving landscape of the global music industry, where trends shift with the wind and virality is often fleeting, the true measure of an artist is found in their consistency and the depth of their connection with the audience. Seokjin, known to the world simply as Jin of BTS, has once again demonstrated this enduring power, solidifying his status not merely as a member of a legendary group, but as a formidable solo force in his own right. According to recent data from Spotify, the world's largest music streaming platform, the title track of Jin's solo album Echo, titled Don't Say You Love Me, has surpassed a staggering 809.45 million streams. This achievement is not a sudden spike driven by a fleeting trend. Rather, it is the result of a steady long-term accumulation of plays since the song's release, indicating a profound and lasting resonance with listeners. The track, which has been praised for its silver voice delivery, calmly depicts the lingering bittersweet feelings of separation. By combining an emotional melody with light, understated vocals, Jin has created a piece of art that deeply sympathizes with global listeners, securing continuity well beyond the initial buzz of its debut. The success extends far beyond a single single. The cumulative streaming figures for the album Echo have exceeded 1.1 billion plays. This massive number reflects the high immersion listeners feel toward the album's delicate emotional expression and authentic composition. Interest in the B-side tracks remains incredibly hot, with Nothing Without Your Love recording over 55 million streams, while Loser featuring YENA and Rope It have also garnered millions of plays, proving that fans are consuming the entire body of work. Simultaneously, Jin has reached another digital milestone by surpassing 10 million followers on his individual Spotify artist page as of January 31st. This digital footprint is mirrored by tangible, real-world success. His solo albums, Happy and Echo, released in succession, have expanded his musical color, demonstrating vocal capabilities that have reached their peak. His tour, #RunSeokjin_tour, which performed 18 times across 9 cities, entered the US Polestar Global Concert Tour Top 20 and appeared on the Billboard Top Tour Monthly chart, a record-breaking performance for an Asian solo artist. The industry has taken note. Jin ranked first as the best solo artist at the 40th Golden Disc Awards and the inaugural K-pop Awards hosted by the Japanese media outlet, Style. His international recognition continues to climb, with Mexico's leading online pop station, House Radio, selecting him as the 2025 K-pop artist for the second consecutive year. Furthermore, at the 2025 Asian Pop Music Awards, APMA, he simultaneously won Record of the Year and Top 20 Songs of the Year. These accolades confirm that Jin has established a solid position as a world superstar, with high expectations for his future challenges on the global stage. However, to fully understand the weight of these 800 million streams and the glint of these gold trophies, one must look beyond the statistics. One must look past the world-class titles and the sold-out arenas to find the story of a young man for whom this level of musical acclaim was never guaranteed. A man whose journey began not with a microphone in his hand, but with a quiet, terrifying uncertainty. The narrative of Seokjin is a profound study in the art of becoming. Unlike many of his contemporaries in the K-pop industry, Jin was not a child prodigy who spent his toddler years dancing in front of a mirror. He was not an underground rapper spitting verses in Daegu, nor was he a street dancer battling in Gwangju. He was an ordinary student, a young man from Gyeonggi Province who was attending the prestigious Konkuk University to study acting. His dream was to inhabit other characters on a screen, not to stand exposed on a stage. His entry into the world of music is often retold as a charming anecdote. He was scouted on the street while stepping off a bus, chosen purely for his striking, undeniable physical beauty. He was recruited for his face. But what is often left out of that story is the immense, crushing burden that such an origin places on a person. In an industry that demands perfection, being the visual recruit is often a double-edged sword. It carries the silent, stinging implication that you are there to be looked at, not to be heard. When Jin entered the training system, he was stepping into a world where he was a complete stranger. He started from zero. Industry sources and early documentary footage from the group's archives reveal a stark reality. While his future bandmates moved with instinctive rhythm and possessed musicality honed over years, Jin had to learn how to count the beat. He had to learn how to breathe. He had to learn how to use his voice. There is a specific haunting kind of loneliness that comes from being the imposter in a room full of geniuses. As the eldest member, the math young, cultural expectations in Korea dictated that he should be the leader, the most capable, the one the younger members looked up to for guidance. Yet, in the practice room, the dynamic was brutally reversed. He was the one lagging behind. He was the one receiving the harshest corrections from dance instructors. He was the one who had to stay behind late into the night, repeating the same movement thousands of times until his body ached, just to achieve the baseline competence that others seemed to have naturally. The psychological toll of this period cannot be overstated. 4 years, Jin battled a silent, internal war against the fear of inadequacy. He lived with the terrifying thought that he was holding the team back, that he was the weak link in a chain of steel. In his solo track Awake, released years into their career, he finally gave the world a glimpse into this private darkness. He sang about how he might not be able to fly like the flower petals, a metaphor for his talented members, but that he would continue to run, continue to struggle, just to stay by their side. It was a heartbreaking confession of vulnerability from a man the world saw as confident. He essentially admitted that he felt ordinary in a group of extraordinary people, and that his only choice was to work harder than anyone else to bridge that gap. This struggle was compounded by the responsibilities he shouldered off camera. During the group's rookie days, when money was scarce and the future was a blur of anxiety, Jin took it upon himself to be the caretaker. Verified accounts from the members themselves reveal that Jin would use his own allowance, money from his family, to buy ingredients and cook meals for the group, ensuring they didn't go hungry when the company budget was tight. He drove the youngest member, Jungkook, to school, acting as a guardian in a chaotic city. He absorbed the stress of their uncertainty. When the group faced ridicule, rejection, or the looming threat of disbandment in those early difficult years, Jin became the emotional buffer. He adopted a persona of humor, using his now famous dad jokes and exaggerated confidence to lighten the heavy atmosphere. He laughed so that the younger members wouldn't have to cry. He made himself look silly so that the tension in the room would break. But behind those jokes was a man who was often awake at night, wondering if his best was good enough, wondering if he truly belonged on that stage. There is a profound sacrifice in becoming the person who always smiles for the sake of others. It requires burying your own fears so deep that no one else can see them. For a long time, the public underestimated Jin. They saw the handsome face and the jokes, and they missed the grit. They didn't see the extra vocal lessons he took in secret. They didn't see the notebooks filled with lyrics as he tried to find his own voice as a songwriter. They didn't see the sheer will it took to transform from an acting student who couldn't sing into the silver voice that now anchors the group's most emotional ballads. The silver voice moniker mentioned in the news is not just a compliment. It is a medal of honor. It represents stability. It represents a vocal tone that is unwavering, emotional, and technically proficient. It is the sound of a man who built his instrument from scratch, brick by brick, through sheer determination. The release of his solo albums, Happy and Echo, and the subsequent success of Don't Say You Love Me, marks the final shattering of that old imposter fear. When 800 million people stream his song, they are not listening to him because he is handsome, or because he is funny, or even because he is a member of BTS. They are listening because his voice moves them. They are listening to the artist, Seokjin. His achievements in 2025, the platinum albums, the sold-out tours, the awards in Japan and Mexico, are a vindication. They are the harvest of a seed planted in rocky soil over a decade ago. He proved that you don't have to be born a genius to become a legend. You don't have to be the fastest to win the race. You just have to be the one who refuses to stop walking. The respect that Jin commands today is deep and reverent. It comes from the fans who watched him grow from a shy, insecure trainee into a global superstar who addresses the United Nations. It comes from the industry critics who once dismissed him but now praise his vocal stability and emotional intelligence. But most importantly, it comes from the quiet understanding of what he sacrificed to get here. He sacrificed his youth. He sacrificed the easy path of an acting career. He sacrificed his ego to learn from those younger than him. And in doing so, he taught the world a lesson about resilience. He taught us that it is okay to bloom late. He taught us that hard work can rival natural talent. He taught us that true strength is not just in power, but in kindness, in consistency, and in the courage to keep singing even when your voice shakes. As we look at the number, 800 million streams, it is impressive. But if you listen closely to the silence after the song ends, you can feel the presence of the man behind it. A man who looked into the mirror of his own doubts and decided to love himself. A man who, despite the fear, despite the struggle, and despite the odds, found his own echo in the world. And that is why, when the lights go down, the respect for Jin remains, solid, unwavering, and beautifully earned.